Ladies and gentlemen, this is Big Ray's Wrestling Show. I am the mark of the masses. I am the man with the plan. Big Ray here to stay to talk some TNA today. And ladies and gentlemen, we talk Impact 8/23/2012. Bound for Glory is 2 weeks away. And we have a lot to talk about. This show was crazy. We had a lot of crazy things happen today. The Aces of Eights definitely made their presence felt today. We start off the show with a basic recap of the Aces of Eights situation. And they basically break down all the people that were attacked by the Aces of Eights, and there were quite a few, and we know quite a few people were injured. A lot of people were threatened. Hulk Hogan's daughter was threatened, almost attacked. You know, so Hulk Hogan was definitely attacked, and he was put out of business for a long time, so on and so forth. It's open fight night, and last week Sting said that he would, well, basically he said it's showtime. And he was going to basically go out and call out the Aces of Eights tonight, 8/23/12. So we start the night off with Sting inside the ring as with the TNA roster, basically. The elite guys, everybody's basically ringside waiting for the Aces of Eights. They call out the Aces of Eights, and guess what? The Aces of Eights show up, but it wasn't the entire Aces of Eights. It was only 2 members. And as soon as those 2 guys showed up in the ring, they get jumped by Kurt Angle and by Cowboy James Storm. Now, prior to this, Sting basically clarifies everything. He knows, look, James Storm's not involved, so we're going to call James Storm down, and James Storm basically cuts a promo, also calling out the Aces of Eights. So, and it worked out actually in Aces of Eights' favor. Later on we'll get into that. But I said to myself, why are they only 2 members? Why is it not the full Aces of Eights? Divide and conquer, my friends. Divide and conquer. But anyway, now we have Miss Tessmacher, the new Knockouts champion. Well, she was the old Knockouts champion, and she just regained it last week, and she beat Madison Rainford for the championship. But anyway, so we see Miss Tessmacher in the ring, and she's basically cutting a promo, putting over this talent that she's going to call out. This young lady that she's calling out is Tara. She says she's learned everything from Tara, and she wants to see where she is, basically, where her skills are. So she calls Tara out, and it was a pretty decent match. She held her own, but Tara was a little too smart for her. Basically, towards the end of the match, Tara is on the canvas, and Miss Tessmacher is climbing the top rope, and Tara actually plays a little possum. Once she gets up there, Tara catches her, hits her with a good solid superplex, and rolls over and pins her for the 1-2-3. So this is what I want to get into. Prior to the match, there's this young lady, Taryn Terrell. I don't know what she is. I don't know if she's supposed to be the regular referee, if they're going to basically move her in as a knockout. Is she going to be a wrestler? Is she going to be backstage commentary? This is my opinion, and I always say this show is opinion-based only. I want to know what you guys think of the new Knockouts referee and the new Knockouts personality, Taryn Terrell. She looked a little awkward refereeing that match, and I don't know if it was just me, if anybody else noticed. I think I actually tweeted it, Big Ray Show on Twitter. She counted to 5 or 4.5. It was weird. Like towards the end of the match, instead of counting to 3, she just kept counting. It was such a weird ending to the match. But a good match. I don't know where they're gonna take this young lady. She looks. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's just me, but she looks to be a little out of sorts in the ring. But anyway, we're gonna move on because there's a lot to cover. Now, I've said this before. Now, before we move on to the match. Again, I really haven't heard from you guys. I want to know what you guys think about this. You look at Robbie E. Now, a lot of people, again, say Robbie E. is a knockoff, or he's an imitation of Zack Ryder in the WWE. But if you really watch Robbie E.'s matches, Robbie E. is a really good worker. He's got the it factor. I think Robbie E. is actually better than Zack Ryder. I think he cuts a better promo than Zack Ryder. I think he's a better in-ring worker than Zack Ryder. Robbie E. is actually a really good talent. My opinion. I would like to know what you guys think. But we move on, and now we have the match, and it was actually a really good match. A really long match. RVD and AJ Styles basically going at it most of the match. Robbie E. actually held his own. Towards the end of the match, we see RVD who actually hits the 5-star frog splash Now you think the match is over. Now you know when RVD hits that frog splash, he hits it hard. So he's basically he almost hurts himself in order to get what he needs to get. But Robbie E capitalizes on this, and I don't know what the heck is going on with professional wrestling nowadays. Where is it just me? But a lot of people are getting tossed out of the ring after they hit their finishes. WWE and TNA, and anyway, so Robbie E actually capitalizes on AJ being hit with the 5-star frog splash. RVD basically, in pain after hitting the 5-star frog splash, easy for me to say, and Robbie E tosses RVD out of the way and gets the 1, 2, 3. I couldn't believe it. This was a big upset, and I actually, it's funny, when I was watching the match, I said to myself, wouldn't it be funny if they actually have Robbie E go over these two guys? But Robbie E does. So Robbie E gets 7 points in the BFG series. We move on. So we're going to move on quickly. We have Jeff Hardy in the ring, and Jeff Hardy is pretty much still upset that Robbie T powerbombed him through a table. I mean, who wouldn't be? This happened before Hardcore Justice. So Jeff Hardy calls out Robbie T, Big Robbie T, and he actually, we're going to move on really quickly. He goes over Robbie T, hits him with the Twist of Fate, hits him with the Swanton Bomb, goes over 1, 2, 3. We move on, and we see backstage Kaz and Daniels talking about the big reveal. Now, prior to tonight, I actually was online, I think sometime late yesterday, and I have a report here, and basically almost all the wrestling sites reported this, but basically the young lady Julia Riley, who plays Claire Lynch, she basically had she was a known actress in the Florida and in the Orlando area. She did infomercials. She was but what she was mostly known for, apparently, is playing Olive Oyl on Popeye the Ride. And apparently a lot of her personal information got out, and she didn't want to be involved, so on and so forth. So she actually she asked to leave TNA Wrestling. So funny, I have actually been complaining about this character. I've been complaining about the whole Claire Lynch saga, as I've been calling it, and we don't have to really deal with it anymore. It wasn't one of my favorite spots in the show. I mean, look, I understand it was one of the major storylines, but again, I really couldn't get into it. I personally feel it's been done. I don't mean to criticize this portion of the TNA programming, but it is what it is, and I really wasn't happy with her. I don't think she pulled it off. I actually ended up laughing a couple of times when she had broken down and started crying and saying, "AJ, take your responsibility," and I just sat there like, gosh, she's horrible. But anyway, I'm not a professional actor, but anyway, it was horrible. I'm sorry to say, but great. Apparently she's gone. So the rumor was that this storyline was going to end tonight, and it does. We move on. Okay, so we get a quick gut check promo from this up and coming young star, or young wrestler named Chris Louis, and he basically puts himself over and talks about his family and his children, so on and so forth. So he's about to get ready for his gut check match, his professional or TV debut. But we move on. We go backstage now. I'm telling you, it's getting down to the nitty gritty. We have Sting backstage. He confronts the Aces of Eights. There were a couple of members of the Aces of Eights in the back, and Sting's cutting this really wacky, crazy promo. And he basically says, play 45 card pickup, or what the hell it is. And he basically throws the cards in their face, and they get a little distracted. And behind them, brother, was the Hulkster brother, or is it Hollywood Hulk Hogan? Because, man, Sting tossed him the bat, and Hollywood took him out, and Sting looked at Hulk Hogan like, "Oh, Hulk, you're back. Oh, it's Hollywood. Hollywood's back. It's showtime." Oh, Sting was really excited to see Hulk Hogan back. Hulk Hogan looked pumped. Hulk Hogan looked angry. We're going to move on to the gut check match. So now we have ODB backstage, and she's on the phone with Eric Young, and we know that TNA is actually trying to promote Eric Young's new fishing show, and it's been months, and ODB still doesn't have her fried chicken and beer. I think as a TNA knockout, she makes enough money. She should go and get her own fried chicken and beer. But we move on, and we see Mr. Anderson, or Mr. Anderson, call out Bully Ray, the BFG series, and it was a really, really, really good match. Again, I really enjoy Bully Ray's work. Now, I've been hearing, or I've been reading on the internet, various wrestling rumor sites, that there's a really good chance that Bully Ray and Devon may be leaving TNA. What do you guys think about that? How do you guys feel about one of their top heels and one of their top wrestlers and gentlemen, Bully Ray and Devon, leaving TNA? Right now, TNA, I feel, is getting a lot better. I think the matches have always been really good, but I think Bully Ray and Devon have helped add a lot to the TNA program, to the TNA roster. They put a lot of young guys over. I think their wealth of knowledge is immeasurable, and I think it would be a travesty to see these guys go. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know what would you guys do if you lost Bully Ray? Who would be the next guys you would build up in their place, or Bully Ray's place as a top heel? Not so much Devon, but more Bully Ray. I think Bully Ray has much more of an impact. But apparently, again, this is what I'm reading. They're in negotiations. We don't know if it's going too well. Maybe they end up back in the WWE. Maybe they help revamp that tag team division. Possible. But anyway, we move on to the match. So Bully Ray basically gets called out by Mr. Anderson, and they have a really good match. And again, Bully Ray is a professional, man. I love Bully Ray. I know a lot of people don't. I don't think they get him. I think he's a great heel. I think he's done a lot for TNA, and I really hope they keep him. But anyway, they have a really good match. They actually go back and forth pretty much the whole match. Bully ends up trying to hit the Bubba Cutter, or the Bully Cutter. Actually, Mike Tenay made that mistake too. He called Bully Ray's Bully Bomb the Bubba Bomb, and I just made the same mistake. So nobody's perfect. But anyway, so Bully actually hits the Bully Bomb, and Mr. Anderson actually kicks out, and then Mr. Anderson hits his version of the Swanton, and Bully Ray kicks out. Anyway, basically the match breaks down where you have Mr. Anderson, and he actually finally hits Bully with the mic check for the clean 1, 2, 3. Now, during this match, they cut away from the match because Mike and Taz actually heard some scuffling in the back, or some I guess fighting in the back, and yeah, the TNA talent was going at it with the Aces of Eights. So this was happening during the match. Now, backstage, you have the leader, or the person I perceive to be the leader of the Aces of Eights, and he says that the dead man's hand will be dealt tonight. Will it? Well, we go to the ring and we find out. So now we have Sting in the ring, the TNA talents in the ring, and earlier, if I didn't mention this before, Sting had commanded, or demanded, not commanded, but he demanded that security keep the gates wide open. They wanted the Aces of Eights to have access to the arena. And if the Aces of Eights showed up, he wanted them to come into the ring. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's basically what happens. Sting basically calls out the Aces of Eights, and all hell breaks loose. I'm talking about backstage, in ring, around the ring, in the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, they were going crazy. But what I noticed is, and I actually tweeted this at Big Ray's show on Twitter, I noticed that the more that Aces of Eights were getting their butts kicked, the more of them would show up, if that makes sense. They were multiplying. I was like, where the hell are these guys coming from? And it was weird. I did notice a little bit that they were kind of trying to move the group of TNA talent more towards the back. And what ends up happening is Austin Aries ends up in the ring by himself. And the core group, as I call them, or as I guess I call them now, the core group, the original members of the Aces of Eights are in the ring, and they actually pull one of the steel barricades, and they actually pin Austin Aries onto the steel barricade with his arm extended forward, and they smash his hand with a steel chair. So now what's going to happen? Now, so I guess this was their plan the whole time. They finally got a good piece of Austin Aries, and they might have broken his hand. So now what happens next? What happens next week? What happens at Bound for Glory? Ladies and gentlemen, what happens? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Big Ray's Wrestling Show. I'm Big Ray, and like I always say, I would love to do this for a living, but if I can't, I would do it anyway. Why? Because I love talking wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, you will find me here at onewrestling.com or YouTube /OneWrestlingVideo. Please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment below. I want to know what you guys think. It is all opinion based. There is no right or wrong. It's professional wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know what you guys think. Again, Big Ray, I am out. See you next time.